It's time to get real. Ilia Topuria ducked the Alexander Volkanovski rematch and fled to 155 pounds. Okay, that's the truth. Alexander Volkanovski looked incredible against Diego Lopez and went home with the belt for the second time in his career. He's now a two-time featherweight champ, undoubtedly the best featherweight of all time. Today, I'm giving you a recap and reaction of the main card and a couple of prelims as well. So stick around to hear my thoughts. I'm Wyatt. This is Fight Society. Couple of prelims that I wanted to highlight. Cedricus Dumas got knocked out in less than 3 minutes. If you guys know, very good friend of the channel has DM'd me some incredible words of support along the journey of this channel. Those that have been watching me for a while know what's up with me and Cedricus Dumas. Chase Hooper, good win against a vet and Jim Miller. He needs to fight some actual competition and not just continue to fight these 40-year-olds like Jim Miller, Clay Guida. I know it's not on him. Chase Hooper needs a step up. We need somebody that's in that fringe ranking type of range. Not like top 15, but someone just outside of that, like a Ferris Ziam or something like that. Xiaonan and Jandy Roba, not a fun fight. Moving on. Dan Ige versus Sean Woodson. We had a ton of people complaining about the stoppage here because Sean Woodson was moving at the time that the fight was stopped. But in my opinion, it was a good stoppage. He got cracked, and then he was running for a long time. I think 20 plus unanswered shots by the time the fight got stopped. And also, John Anik said on the broadcast that the scorecards were 2-0 on all cards for Dan Ige, so Woodson was on his way to a decision loss anyway. We move on to the main card, Nikita Krylov against Dominic Reyes. Now, when they both walked out, and keep in mind, I picked Dominic Reyes. I did very good on my picks. I went 4 out of 5 on the main card. But when they both walked out and I saw how flabby Dom Reyes looked compared to Nikita Krylov, I was like, oh my God, I made a terrible pick going with Dom Reyes. But he proved me right. He literally McGregor-Aldo'd Nikita Krylov and got a first-round KO, a nasty KO. I think you book him versus Carlos Ulberg next in a title elimination bout, something like that. You do the Pereira-Ankalaev rematch, and you do like Yuri versus Jan Blachowicz or something like that. Great performance from Dom Reyes. Looked really good. Ate a couple of big shots. I was worried about his chin. Obviously, he's been knocked out a lot, but he hung in there. Good stuff from Dom Reyes. Moving on from there to the most hyped fight on the card in a lot of people's eyes, Bryce Mitchell versus Gene Silva. This is the one that I got wrong. I picked Bryce Mitchell. I knew that it was a bad pick, but I wanted to go out on a limb because Gene Silva had not been tested that much in the grappling department in the UFC, but he defended all of Bryce Mitchell's takedowns. He had Bryce Mitchell in like 3 or 4 deep chokes and then eventually got the ninja choke to finish the fight in the second round. Bryce Mitchell looked completely outgunned from the start. He, compared to Gene Silva, he looked slow, he looked uncoordinated, he looked unexplosive. He looks stiff, and I know that Bryce Mitchell's not the best striker, and Bryce Mitchell did have some success, but Gene Silva's got a fucking granite chin and bricks for hands, and Bryce Mitchell did not have a good approach, and Bryce Mitchell, honestly, didn't even have the strength to muscle through any takedowns or at least push him back to the fence and reshoot. It was literally just double leg. Silva doesn't let him get to the hips. We're back at space over and over and over again. Or Bryce Mitchell would just put his neck out there to get choked because he got put in 2 guillotines that I thought were going to finish the fight, and then he got ninja choked at the end of it. So Bryce Mitchell needs to go to an actual gym. Bryce Mitchell needs to go to an American Top Team, a Kill Cliff FC, a Extreme Couture, somebody like that where they actually have strength and conditioning and real instruction. I think that Bryce Mitchell just thinks that exercising and hitting pads and stuff like that is enough for him to be a world-class athlete. And it's not. He needs to actually go to one of these super teams, in my opinion, because where he's at right now, Bryce Mitchell is never going to get over the hump into the top 10, top 5, or ever become a champ, to me. Now, I saw the post that he put up after the fight. He seems to be in a good place, but he needs a change, okay? He desperately needs a change. He got KO'd by Josh Emmett. He beat Crone Gracie, not an impressive win, literally at all. And then got KO'd by, got submitted by Gene Silva, who he was supposed to have a grappling advantage over. So disappointing night for Bryce Mitchell, but it was a super, super hyped fight. And I don't want to take away from Gene Silva by trashing Bryce Mitchell so much, but Gene Silva is him. I mean, top 5 guy, title eliminator, just get him up there, you know, just get him to the top of the division. The same way you got Protest going to Ian Gary, give Gene Silva a top 10 guy. Either that or Aaron Pico. Aaron Pico just signed with the UFC. That'd be fun too. Moving on from there, Yair Rodriguez versus Patricio Pitbull. The armbar that Patricio had at one point was really dicey for Yair, but it went exactly the way that I said it was going to go. I was actually really accurate. I had Dom Reyes by KO, Mitchell by sub, which was incorrect, Yair by decision, Patty by submission, but it ended up being, I had him by second round submission, ended up being third round finish still. And then I had Volk by decision. But anyways, Yair, it went exactly how I said it would. He's going to pick him apart at range. Patricio Pitbull is older and smaller. Yair is going to kick him to death and get a 30-27, 29-28 decision. I think one judge had it 29-28 and the other two had it 30-27, but unanimous decision for Yair Rodriguez. They were probably hoping for a Diego Lopez win so that they could do Lopez versus Rodriguez with some heat on it for the main event of UFC 320, which is going to be in Guadalajara, Mexico. But that's not the case. Maybe they do Volkanovski and Yair. I don't know. So we move on to Michael Chandler versus Paddy Pimblett. Now, I picked Paddy Pimblett by second round sub. It ended up being third round TKO. He smoked Michael Chandler. He really did. I mean, Paddy the Baddie is legit. And I think you give him McGregor, if McGregor comes back, pay-per-view main event in Ireland or in Europe somewhere, or you do Topuria versus Paddy Pimblett, pay-per-view main event without a belt. I think it works. I think it works so well. Paddy Pimblett looked incredible, survived kind of getting out-muscled in the first round by Chandler, but the jump knee that he cut Chandler with, the grappling, he just absolutely drowned. He just drowned Chandler with the grappling. He has a good chin. I think Paddy could be a future champ, especially in this division. That's a crazy thing to say with how stacked this division is, but I think it's got to be a Topuria, a McGregor, and Oliveira, like something that is a star-building performance. He's not going to get a title shot right away, but it's got to be somebody big. He called out Oliveira, Dustin, and Justin Gaethje. I think Oliveira, McGregor, or Topuria. But Chandler, I don't know what's next for him. You're going to have to find him a big fight. And I don't know what big fights are left for him at 155 pounds besides Conor McGregor, who is probably not going to come back to fight him. If Conor comes back, it's probably against Paddy Pimblett now. And I don't even know like who you match him up with. I mean, because he fought Dustin, he fought Justin, he fought Charles. He didn't fight Arman, but Arman's way too high up in the rankings now. He didn't fight Islam. That's not going to happen. I think you're looking at a Michael Chandler, Colby Covington fight, something like that, or a Michael Chandler at 170, or a Michael Chandler, I don't know. He has to fight prospects now. That's where he's at. He's got to fight Faris Ziam, Benoit Saint-Denis, or I don't know if Jalen Turner was to come back, something like that. Maybe Moicano. Maybe Moicano Chandler's the fight to make. Moicano coming off of a title loss on 1 day's notice to Islam. That actually sounds good. Moicano and Chandler. I like that one. Moving on to the main event. Volk is back. Order is restored. And like I said at the beginning of this video, Topuria ducked Volk. It just is what it is. He fought Volk coming off less than 3 months of coming off the Islam Makhachev KO. He comes back, Topuria KOs him. Now he takes a year and a half off, and while he did get dropped, he ate many, many very big shots from Diego Lopez, survived them, and came back, was getting into some wild exchanges that made me really nervous, but Volk was exchanging, landing big shots, taking big shots. Volk is back, and I think that's why Topuria fled to 155 pounds, was that weight cut and the idea of having to face Volk in a return to form. You know what I'm saying? So Topuria ducked Volk for the rematch. He got lucky with the first fight. It is what it is. Diego Lopez looked frustrated for a lot of the fight. Didn't get out of the first gear until like the third round or the second round when he dropped Volk. And this fight did go pretty close to how I predicted. I said it was going to be Volk pulling away with a couple of sketchy moments, which is what we got, like Volk getting dropped in the second round, stuff like that. It actually went almost exactly how I said it would. So Lopez probably against Yair if they don't give Yair a title shot. But what I think makes a certain level of sense, Volkanovski, Movsar, and then Lopez, Rodriguez, something like that. It just depends what they do with Aaron Pico, because they're talking about Aaron Pico potentially getting a title shot in his debut. So we'll have to see there. But Volk returned to form. Diego Lopez proved that he can hang with the best, but that he's not the best in the world right now. Great card. We got next week off, and then we have Prates versus Ian Gary. Like, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts on the card down below. Did you like this video? Then like and subscribe down below. I also do multiple live streams per week, along with behind the scenes content and members only live streams for our channel members. So become a channel member for access to bonus content. It's only $5 per month, and it greatly helps the channel's growth. I also do a podcast with my best friend Bo, and I have a non-MMA channel as well called Wyatt's World. You can check both of those out linked below.